Hi, this is Jeff from JNS Ministries. This is my wife Susie. We wanted to make a special announcement about Fishers of Kids. We're pretty excited about it. As you know, we have a fishing ministry because of our love for fishing. And even though I get my uh, pants beat off of me because of her catching bigger fish all the time, I still enjoy going out fishing with my wife, and we've kind of dedicated that hobby and pastime to minister the good news of Christ, fishers of kids. We recently were awarded a grant, and it was Susie's baby, so to speak, and she found it. It was available, and she ran with it. So why don't you go ahead and tell them about the putting in our grant and go into detail about that a little bit.
Well, there's different types of grants that they offer every year, and this one was for educational classes that involve outdoor, and because we are fishers of kids and we were doing that type of thing anyway and having the clinics, I applied for the grant and we were awarded some money, and so we have taken that money and already purchased fishing poles and some tackle, which will be given out to all the kids that are in the clinic, which is taking place in June. We did it to the end of the fiscal year for the grant just because of all of the goings on with COVID and everything, so we had to push it back. So the clinics are June 5th, 12th, and 19th of 2021, and there'll be more details coming.
Barring any issues.
Yeah.
From China.
Yeah. And we'll get more information out as it gets closer to that on how to register and all the information involved with that. But the next thing I'm going to purchase from the grant money is tackle boxes, so I'm working on that, and then any other supplies. We're going to have probably water and first aid supplies, paper supplies, that kind of thing, just to have in case they're needed for the clinic.
We go through Zebco. Zebco has really come through, and we were able to get the Zebco 202s with a small starter tackle box at 50% off. They are, for the record, the only ones that have come through, and we're very grateful for that franchise to come through for our youth fishing project. It's not just a clinic. We don't have an outdoor field church or revival or tent revival or anything like that, but we do make the means. That's where the tracts and the Bibles come into play that we get donations for. We still need donations for those. The grant money can't be used because it's a secular grant. That can't be used to purchase that. Unfortunately, I disagree with it, but that's to remain fair to everybody. They have to have restrictions and guidelines on their end. So we do need donations to purchase our Bibles, and we get discounts through various retail outlets for that. And also the tracks are through Chick Tracks. And those we will make available at the clinics. And as far as witnessing, I just will simply talk a few minutes about the reason why the clinics were created, and a brief mention of what God means to me and why I'm here, and why we are there, why we're here doing the clinics. And as the kids and the families leave, they will be able to take a Bible or a tract if they so choose. I won't apologize for talking about Christ and what He's done for me, and I will not change we will not change our stance on the reason why we do Fishers of Kids. It is to teach kids how to fish and to give them a fishing pole, but the goal is to be a blessing to those kids and to give someone who can't afford one, especially, that comes up there and say, hey, I got a free fishing pole.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we've been limited to giving away the poles and the poles and poles and the Bibles
Stuck with my hands.
to make fun of me. Now I can't say anything because I'm holding my hands. We give away the poles and the tracks primarily from our boat when we go out fishing. We'll find a kid that's fishing on the bank. And what we look for are special interaction with, at least that's what I do. Not that it's a criteria, but I will look for a special interaction with a child, a youth on the bank. Just recently, one was just, I don't know how old he was. Susie wasn't there at the time. She was at church cleaning the church or doing the kitchen management. But this boy went out of his way to be very polite to me and interactive, and he was a blessing to me, whether he knows it or not. So as I was preparing my boat to leave, that's where I met him, was when they were leaving and I was leaving. So when they came up the hill, I got a pole and a couple of tracks, and you thought I gave him a box of diamonds. He was just so excited about that. And 2 tracks about the good news of Christ and his salvation. So that's kind of what the thing we do. The Bibles will be free of charge. They will be available as gifts at the clinics. We also tentatively have a professional educator and minister that is also going to be there, and I have been placed in contact with a former bass pro, so hopefully we'll have them there. And we're also going to ask the game warden to show up. We'll play that one by ear and see if he's available with all the restrictions going on with the health restrictions and everything. We're really shooting from the hip here and just ad-libbing as we go as far as the clinics.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But we'll be searching for volunteers or asking for volunteers as we get closer
Yeah.
to the
yeah,
clinic date. So
yeah. So
next spring probably.
probably half a dozen people each clinic. They're all going to be held at East Fork. We checked into and entertained having them at different locations, but since we have been approved for the grant for the fishing clinics, we have to have them at East Fork. So they will be either by the office on Banham Road or over at the beach, depending on the availability. There's a pond in behind the office on Banham Road at East Fork Lake. We have really been looking hard at that one because it's out of the way. You don't have to worry about traffic, and frankly speaking, you don't have to worry about just an arbitrary issue or problem popping up on the bank. And since we are out there a lot, we see a lot of different things, and just about every time we go out there, especially in the summer, we have to leave for whatever reason, and it's either noise or something obnoxious or pot smell or something like that. I don't. That's not everywhere, but
yeah, but it's not something that we want to necessarily have a clinic for kids.
We don't want a policing issue. So, and
that's not what we want to expose them to.
So the pond at the manager at the lake has graciously suggested, has reasonably suggested that we do it at the pond, and I think it's a good idea. I went and inspected it. It's nice and quiet. There's some pine trees, some facilities there. I believe he'll make a bathroom available in the park garage that's in back there. If not, I probably will use this grant money and rent a portable restroom. We'll see. I'll coordinate that with the park manager. He's really been very helpful with our program. But the main thing is youth fishing, and want to teach you how to fish and teach the kids how to use their fishing poles. When I was a kid and I was poor, we lived on a farm, and I had there was 2 ponds that I fished at all the time, and all I had was a Zebco 202 and my dad bought me one Rapala minnow, and I used that thing. And what I would do if I wanted to fish for something else, or I would catch grasshoppers in the tobacco field in a jar and use those for bait. Bass love those grasshoppers, but that yeah, I would catch them and use them for bait. And that's what you do when you're poor. You come up with different ways of doing things. And the days before the internet and cell phones and all that stuff, we actually were very imaginative. We came up with things to do on our own. We were the superheroes and the cowboys, and we played tag and threw frisbee football and that sort of thing. Um, was there anything else about the grant that you wanted to talk about? Other than we were really looking forward to it this year, but unfortunately, because of the China virus, we got pushed back all the way to September. And I was like, you know what, just forget it. We'll just do it next year. So we've dropped back and we've kind of regrouped, and we're shooting for June. And what else? Is there anything else that you want to talk about as far as the grant, as far as the program?
Well, the grant is for education as well, so it's educating the kids.
On nature and all
Yeah.
that? Mm.
So that it will encourage them to be back in nature.
Yeah.
And the free fishing pole is going to do that because they'll have access.
Which
they'll have the tools.
That actually the lake was a very important part of my recovery before my crash and my rededication to Christ. I was in a depressed state, and I dug out my old fishing bass pole, because I always did catfishing at the time, but I dug out my bass pole and a small tackle box, and I started hiking around the lake. Very therapeutic, and you learn a lot when you hike around the lake. You also see a lot. But I mapped out different spots on Google Maps, and I would hike to that particular spot and see what it looked like. I found a couple of nice ponds that were really neat to look at. Can't do that really a lot anymore because of my hip, but that's why I have a boat. There's a lot to learn around that lake, and fishing is one of them, but you can learn different things about the wildlife, about the lake itself. That's where the game warden hopefully will be able to, or a naturalist, or whoever might speak at the time. We'll arrange for somebody to speak. And more to come on that, more announcements. Did you have anything else? All right. Well, we look forward to your sign-ups. We'll make an announcement after first of the year. You'll be able to sign up at fishersofkids.net. Go to or jnsministries.org, and you can send. There's a sign-up page on the Fishers page, and you can register for that at fishersofkids.net, and that should get them there. I think we got everything on there. Our phone number and email address is on there if you have any questions. You can call us, send us an email, and we'll be able to answer any questions you have about it. Be blessed and understand that, yes, this is about fishing, this is about nature, but also we want to share the good news of Christ and His salvation, and that is going to be part of our program as well. So we look forward to that. We really do. Mm-hmm. And do you have anything else?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much, and God's blessings always.